3,
4,
5,
6,
7,
8,
9,
10.
Yes.
Hey, girl.
Oh, hello. Hi.
Welcome to another
Crack-a-lackin'.
episode of Around the Way Curls, y'all. Welcome. How are you, Antoinette?
I'm great-ish.
Whoa.
We're recording this on Sunday. This will come out Thursday, but by the time this comes out, I've been talking about wanting to be more creative. Whatever you're doing, it's really loud.
Oh, what
I'm
is
so
it?
sorry.
Damn.
Wanting to be more creative, and I am stepping, I'm stepping back into the booth. The vocal booth.
Whoa! You dropping the mixtape?
No, not at all. I got a call from somebody who's very fancy, who in the jazz world, every time he releases an album, he wins Grammys for it. He hit me and was like, "Yo, how are you? I've missed you. Da da da. Can you come record?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess, yeah. When?" I'm thinking months from now. No, next week. Like, bro, what are you talking about? And then he tells me, "Yeah, I'm putting out a new big band album. I'm not going to say who it is because who knows if this will ever see the light of day. People record things all the time and you never see it." But he tells me the featured artists on the album are Sting, 100 Day, and Let Us See. And my dumbass. And the way I was like, what are you even talking about? Like, can you just call somebody else? I literally said that. I was like, what are we doing here? Like, why are we even playing this game? Like I just had in this Sunday moment, so much imposter syndrome. Girl. I have not been singing. It's big band arranged. I haven't heard the arrangement. So it's another one of those situations where, again, I'm one of these people where I practice, I get things down, and then I go and do it. It's going to be another situation that's off the cuff. I'm sure I'm going to know half the musicians in that room because I used to work with them. They're all going to be like, what happened? Why aren't you back at X, Y, and Z company you used to work at? Oh, I got laid off during COVID. Like, it's just another thing that's like, here we go. But I'm going to step in.
Revisiting a shameful moment or a painful moment?
I guess it's just, maybe I have shame around it. Like, oh, I was discarded. I don't know.
Girl,
I haven't figured that out.
Nigga.
I am.
You were.
But I am. But I don't have time to even deal with that. I need to rehearse it a million different ways because, again, I don't know what it's going to sound like. I have to just be prepared to just play. And that's not what I do creatively. I don't like that. I like to work in my little silo and then go deliver something that I feel I've, put together and it is good. So we're going to see what happens. This is supposed to happen on Wednesday. And I want to throw up. I want to throw up just talking about it right now. So my body is full of anxiety and just,
I love this opportunity. Do shit that scares you, girl. Isn't
terrifying.
Bust you
corny.
Open. Bust it open for a real nigga.
Yo, yes. Listen. All this shit we talk about here, I'm like, I gotta do practice? What?
Ew. Disgusting.
Nutty.
Nasty.
Yeah. So we'll see. But that's what I'm headed into. Ciao. What about you?
I'm just getting back into the school routine. We had our first back to school night. This is my daughter's
grown.
This is my daughter's first school. So we're new parents, new student. The way that this school is organized is that the parents, the class stays together as well with the teacher. So each year, although the subjects change, although you have some teachers that come in and teach specific subjects, the classroom stays with the same teacher all the way up to graduation, from kindergarten to graduation. So there's this cohort. They've known each other for 6 years now, 7 years, 8 years. I guess some of them have been preschool together. So I walk in. I'm always the youngest in the parent groups. It's very rare that I have a peer that's a young parent as well. I'm Black. I have yet to meet the other Black parents. Even with this school, it's even less of Black people than the other schools. Shout out to Philly is segregated and poor. It is a desperate situation that I am really waking up to, and it does not feel good. But yeah, like I went there and I was like feeling nervous. Just people were kind and open, but definitely feeling the pangs and fighting the shame similarly around just being a young Black single mom. At that time, Jojo's father didn't come, so I was by myself and just fighting the stories that I've created in my head. Shout out to all the single moms out there doing it, dealing with the same things. I see you, I feel you, I am you. Shit is real. We just got to show up. And then they want you to participate in shit. And like, I ain't got the time or bandwidth. So now I'm like the one that don't know what's going on or not participating, but I'm going to do my best.
Can I ask you something? Do you feel, I remember you saying that you felt like a statistic. Do you still feel like that now?
Yeah, I don't feel like a statistic, but yeah, like it's not a part of my identity, but I'm tempted to feel when you go in there, you're like, oh, how are these people perceiving me?
Got it.
I got fucking shit on my teeth. Like, I was just like, oh gosh, like, oh boy. But yeah, it's interesting how I have to like, manage how I feel I'm being perceived, especially around white people. What else? As we all know, hopefully last week I reached out to the Greater Around the Way Curls community, asking for help from my friend. I'll go more into that situation further into the episode because it's brought up a lot for me that I can't wait to talk about with you guys and all the listeners. But what I have realized is the importance of having a counsel when we're making decisions. I think we have been so conditioned to think we have to make especially hard decisions by ourselves. And many of us aren't in practice of like, I don't know, even I feel like picking out your outfit for your birthday, it feels like a joint thing of like, all right, we're going to come through. How are we going to, from the simplest
I'm a Libra
of decisions.
And I can't make a decision.
Child. But a lot of people experience that from the most simple of decisions to like a life-changing decision. How important it is that we have a counsel and how we're not in practice of asking for, should I make this decision? What do you see that I don't see? But that's been something that I've been pondering.
Well, you're supposed to put me in contact with Katia, and you never did because I need an older Black woman in my life.
Oh, we need our aunties. I gotta call Katia my damn self. Shout out to Katia.
I wouldn't mind reaching out to her sometimes and be like, "Hi, can you do some emotional labor for me?" Like, no. Anyway, no, I feel you on that. You bring up two great points, so we'll get into it in the episode, but I just want you to know that when I see you, I understand that I guess technically we're all statistics, right? We all fit into some statistical mold, right? But for you, I just want you to know that things could have gone very differently for you and Jolie. And the way that you have navigated being a young parent, being a parent who started out serving, right, to where you are now being a business owner. It's not about status. It's about discipline. It's about listening to yourself and the way that you've honored that and done it afraid, even with a child who's looking up at you like, you got to take care of me for the rest of my life. Hello. That's terrifying. And you did it. And you did it with such grace and with such faith. And so I feel like had you moved any other way, you could have been a different statistic, a statistic of I went to nursing school and got those vaccinations and just did what I was supposed to do because I got a kid and I got shit to do, you know? And so I really, really admire you for that. And so when you walk into these rooms, I hope that you remember the conversation and that you understand you got a community of people who are looking up at you in awe.
Oh.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
No word. Thank you. You better speak life into me. Yes.
All right. Speaking of speaking life into people, let's get into some voicemails. We have 3 this week. We have more. Y'all be calling, and I love it. I love it.
Hotline
We're
bling.
gonna figure out a fucking way to get all of these ways. Maybe it's a Patreon. I don't know if we can do more things. If we find an editor, then maybe we can have like
Word.
a
Yes.
Patreon where we just talk to the listeners through these
I
voicemails.
love that.
Do you love it? You
Yeah,
gonna
we
have to
got
do it
caught up
though.
editor boy. Where he at? We gotta follow up on that.
That's my problem. He sent me an email I was supposed to send it to, and I only texted the episodes to him. So I apologize, Queen. I let the ball drop. But here we are. Here is our first voicemail.
Hey, Quincy and Internet. My name is Paula. I've actually called before, and you all thought I said my name was Holland or Harlem, which is both cute, but it's Paula, spelled H-A-L-A. Anyways, I just finished listening to today's episode, and I just wanted to give you all a big thank you for talking about what's going on in Iran and the bravery of Iranian women right now. I actually realized when I was listening to your episode that part of me has been avoiding reading up on the story. So I actually learned a lot of details from you that I didn't really know. Stories like that always bring up a lot of really complex feelings for me because I was raised Muslim and decided to stop wearing the hijab, which I'll ask how that's pronounced. It is hijab and not hijab, at least in Arabic. So I stopped wearing it and practicing the faith when I turned 22. I hadn't been practicing for a minute, but I just stopped pretending at that age. And since then, I haven't had a relationship with my family because of it. So when I hear stories like this, it brings up a lot. Mostly I feel guilty because of the privilege I have that as much as it came with a lot of shit, the fact that I lived in the U.S. made that choice possible for me. And Antoinette, you always touch on how many rights we do have here, as shitty as the country still is. And then there's also a part of me that jumps to Islam's defense because Islamophobia is real. I've faced it, I've seen it, and you know, people use Islam as a tool of patriarchy and to control women, but so do people of other faiths. So, yeah, a lot of feelings come up with stories like this. And I still feel like I can't read too much about it just yet. It takes a little bit of processing, but I just really, really appreciated you all giving me personally a safe little glimpse into what's going on. But also, thank you for giving these brave ass women and the shit that they're dealing with the attention it deserves. Y'all make my week every single week, and I honestly can't thank you enough for being your authentic and vulnerable self. It's pushing me to allow more space for vulnerability in my life. So, sending you both so much love. Bye.
I love that.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. Yeah, and that she's practicing vulnerability just in sharing that. And again, I guess we're all figuring out like what we can do in this situation. But I think it's this, just keep sharing it and sharing our experiences and how spreading the word around about it. And you should watch Rami if you haven't watched Rami yet. That would be real. Hopefully it'll be a beautiful mirror to some things that you've experienced. So,
and thank you so much we asked for someone to call and educate us on how to say it. And also
hijab.
Apologies for hijab for pronouncing your name wrong the first time you called a lot. But I also want to be really clear that yes, I want to emphasize a point that she made that a lot of religious or, Islam can uphold patriarchy and use it as an enforcer, but so many.
Girl, talk about it. Put some.
So many religions do that now. I think a lot of people, maybe it's more visible because of the clothing and the coverings. But baby, that patriarchy is deep set in that good old Bible and that Christianity. I don't want to get into it. I know people gonna have a fit. They be having fits.
Judaism, them Hasidic Jews around.
Woo,
woo. I said, are y'all okay? Is everybody okay?
And maybe and listen, sometimes someone said to me, well, what if patriarchy works for some people? And I had to take a step back and I said,
For who?
Right.
Who is it working for?
But that's a whole episode.
For who?
Write it down. Put it on the
Prove to me how it's who is working for.
Some people, I won't say who this person was in my world, but they said that, you
keep mentioning this person, and
it's multiple people. This isn't the same person. It's multiple people. I'm trying to conceal identities and things because I want to
lose the friends off the podcast, Joe.
But I also want to be more intentional about respecting people's privacy and things like that, unless they tell me and they speak openly about it, that it's okay. But I will say this person is a friend of a friend, starting to be a friend now, but they were talking about how some people do want to play that role. Some people want to serve their husbands. And I was like, well, my argument was that's a conditioning.
Functions. Yeah, that's not
right.
Yeah. That's like white supremacy. Like,
right.
Oh, well, what if black people just think they are inferior? Bitch,
interesting. But thank you for calling because we're going to derail this. You have another voicemail right now.
Ladies, I woke up this morning and I'm listening to the episode. I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. Antoinette, you got me up early crying. Thank you very much. I just wanted to say thank you for being honest and being vulnerable and telling your journey through the abuse that you encountered as a child. I think that there are so many of us that have experienced things like that and maybe buried those deep down inside. And through you, at least these last couple of weeks, you have helped me. Sorry, I had to let the dog out. You have helped me acknowledge some things and almost force the healing process for that part of my life, or at least, at the point that I am. So I paused the episode to come over here because I was almost crying. But thank you very much. You are helping me, and I'm sure you're helping other people. I'm gonna go finish the episode and go to work and wipe my face. Thanks, y'all. Love y'all.
She didn't say her name. Thank you for that. Even that, well, that makes me feel good because sometimes I'll be honest. I think I get on here and I'm like, are you just like talking about yourself and your fucking problems and just, I don't know. Sometimes it just feels, I don't know. Maybe it's uncomfortable. Maybe it feels a little narcissistic. I don't know. My hope is that through whatever work I'm trying to do over here, that other people hear it and that it affects them. So thank you for affirming that. And also crying in the morning and then having to go to work. Capitalism.
Nigga.
It made me so mad that she unfolded and dealing and stuff and she got to let the dog out and hurry up and get to work. I can't stand it here, but I guess we have to do that. Shanti, what are you wiping over there? All I hear is
sorry, I have to prep. I have a live at 3:00. I have very limited time and I have to make sure I get there and there's some things I had to prep. I'm all done. I apologize.
All right.
I had to do
no, you're fine. I just all right, one more Johnski.
Hey, Shanti and Antoinette. I just want to say that I love y'all. Like, my drive, this is Rika, by the way, calling from Miss Dirty Dirty. But anyway, I just got done listening to y'all's latest episode about touch. Everybody needs touch. Y'all, man, like, that's some real ass shit. So, long story short, I had got into a situation and with my job in the military, and I had got in trouble. I had to go report to my committee.
Write this time down. That's not the right one. Fuck. Damn. Now I gotta edit this goddamn video too. Thank you, Queen. All right, ready? I got it here. All right, and so we have one more.
Oh my God, it's a real thing.
Well, I just finished listening to the Everyone Needs Touch episode, and I just want to say, Antoinette, that one, in regards to touch, I am that person. I'm not affectionate at all, and my friends are always laughing at me and letting me know, like, you gotta stop being that way. And so I do try to. But when you spoke about needing touch and the way that you feel about it, I really can't even believe that I turned this on after I sat here and journaled this morning. And my thing is a sense of belongingness and a sense of community. And I always feel so embarrassed or like I'm crazy, even down to the whole jealousy piece. Like, I feel like maybe it's just a human thing, because I feel like that was some other things. I'm like, y'all come calling me about this, and I don't even got none of that. And so I usually don't do stuff like this, like calling or whatever, but I just felt so inclined to just share that I feel you, even though mine is about just belonging and having a community. I'm in a new city, and I've been here for a while, and I just don't know how to get that, but I feel like I feel you on that. And so I just want to say thank you for sharing, and I'm about to go tell people my experience now, because you done shared and got emotional, and now you got me going. So I feel validated in what I'm saying. Like, there are simple things that we need, and it's okay. It's human needs. Like, it's cool. So thank you for sharing. Y'all have a good one, and I love both of y'all.
Oh, these voicemails. Oh, that makes me so happy. And now she's gonna share with her people her needs. Say less. And I acknowledge it might not be touch for everyone. Maybe touch to me feels like community. It feels like or a reminder of it. I don't know, but like, that makes me so happy. I hope you do, sis, share with your people what you need. I hope you are even vulnerable enough to tell them the times when you feel that jealousy rising and you can't hold space for them, or the space that you're holding, you're also holding this other thing for yourself, and acknowledging it and observing it and being aware of it.
And connecting, not having the community with not touching. If you don't feel safe with your people, how do you expect to feel safe being embraced by them? Like,
great point. Great point.
I'm going to say one really quick. Cheska Lee just shared how to complain laterally or up. When we're feeling something, being cognizant of who we're talking to, if it's at work and you have a complaint, complaining up to somebody that has the power to help you in some kind of way, or a person of position, if they are doing the same kind of work as you and you're complaining to them, they have maybe been there, done that, seen that, and they can offer real advice. Versus, and then complaining laterally, where you try and be cognizant if you're complaining about a relationship and you know that your friend is feeling tender in that moment, maybe you're not going there and complaining like, God, my husband and my kids getting on my nerves. I see them all the time, and my daughter wants to hold me all the time, to somebody that doesn't have that same experience. Just being cognizant of who we are sharing our shit with. And can the people that were sharing it really help us or hold space for us? I thought that was cool of her. And I was like, oh, okay, sure.
Makes sense.
Want to shout out the new patrons. We haven't done that in a while. If you are new to our podcast, we also have a visual aspect where you can see our faces, expressions, and our backgrounds. I'm working on my lighting. I'm going to stop saying that. I'm going to get some really nice lighting. But we have new patrons. Welcome. Thank you so much. Gloria C., Jessica T., and Ashley M. If you want to join our Patreon, it's tiered. It is like a subscription. Each month you pay and you have access to all of our videos, the content before and after the episode. And now I ain't saying this in a minute. So what's the Patreon? How you get it? www.patreon.com/AroundTheWayGirls.
There you go, Queen.
Stop playing with me. So we're going to dive into this episode. I started it off last week talking about a friend's situation in which she's a mother of 4 and she is in need of some financial support right now. She's a fellow business owner here in Philadelphia, founder of Franny Lou's Porch, and she's in a legal battle with former business partners, And if you know anything about the American legal system, if you want to be represented and represented well, it takes a lot of fucking money and a lot of time. It's not something that happens in just a month. Some of the legal battles have to be strewn out for years. That is actually a tactic for those that have a lot of money and they know that the person that they're in a legal dispute with doesn't. They will draw out that process till the person has to give up. For this particular person's situation, all of her resources, she didn't have much. Not everybody has thousands of dollars worth of nest egg, but the money that she had has gone into her legal case. She has to move as well. So she doesn't have much money. We asked to raise $4,000 that will get her and her children secure housing and set her up so that she can go through the rest of the year focusing on the battle that she's in right now to regain control of the business that she founded. Thank you so much to everybody that has contributed to this. We have raised $1,500. Or the day that Around the Way Curls, I posted on Around the Way Curls, we did raise a lot of money. People looked out. A lot of people, she told me that a lot of people were just like, because Shanti told me to do it, which I'm not going to take full credit. It was your empathy and goodwill that led you to share that money, but I appreciate you giving me that credit.
Community, baby.
Community is everything. And it made me start thinking about help. And in my friend's particular situation, she has asked the community to raise money before, but it was around her acquiring a building. It was coded in, capitalist verbs around wealth, building wealth, Black business ownership, just all the buzzwords and intersections and connected with money and like social standing. And she reached her goal, and there was no shame in her asking for help in that way, but she has felt a lot of shame and a lot of like, I keep asking people for help. Like the well of goodwill is running dry for me, feeling just very, very alienated and isolated, and like how she cannot keep asking people for help. And she's a mother, she's a Black woman. It made me really think about how do we give help, and then how we ask for help, and what is our relationship with help, period. I find that when I'm tempted to give people money or people ask for help, my mind often goes to those people's choices, especially if they're people that I know personally and I know kind of how they got into the space that they're in, the situation that they're in. And if I find that they haven't made the best choices, there's like this, I'm tempted to follow this narrative of punishment, right? Like, oh, you made your bed, lay in it. That's how I deal with my own self. That's how I treat myself in a lot of ways. And I'm just like, is that right? How much of how we move should be based on, especially in capitalism, the resources that we have? Is it always on empathy, or is like, I got this, I'm going to give it. This person, regardless if this person jumped in the water knowing that they don't know how to swim, I have 15 life jackets, I'm going to give her that life jacket. Or is it like, but you couldn't swim and you're drunk and you're high and you decided to go jump in the water? No, you deserve to drown a little bit. Like, you deserve
Great analogy.
the consequence of this. Yeah. How much is based on what we have and the deservedness of people's help in the financial context? Because help is financial that we can offer. And then to me, I think it's kind of like a financial resource base. And then it's like emotional capacity, and they vary. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
You know, it's difficult because I am mm, I am someone who I think it depends on how you operate, especially with financial health, and just finances in general. If you're somebody who operates from a place of fear with finances, I hoard money. I don't spend money, which is why my money is put in the stock, so it's trying to make money. But baby, the way I won't touch that money, even when I need it, I'll rather go get a second job than touch the money that's going to keep me afloat. So things feel more dire, even if they're not. But because my relationship with money is one based in fear right now, currently, for the most part, and like I just need to understand how my money will make more money. It's difficult when people ask me for financial help. With that said, I have given someone $20K.
Yes, you have.
Not given it to it, lent it to them.
20K. You heard that right. That is not an exaggeration.
That is not an exaggeration. I have said, someone has come to me in tears saying, XYZ is on my head. I'm fucked up and I need X. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. I'm going to look out for you. I use that example because then said person did the same exact thing a year later after they almost paid me all the way back and I gave them more money. So my question is, when is it enabling?
Shit on the
no, they not. Not anymore. Not anymore. I bought that car. I bought that car cash. I ain't got it no more. I was saving for something. And I was also, so let's talk about that. I also understand I made certain sacrifices. I had roommates up until I was 34 in order to be able to stack, for me to feel better about my little nest egg, for me to feel, again, fear-based. I'm not getting an apartment that costs X, Y, and Z. What if I lose my job? I can't live check to check. I have to have this amount of money in order for me to feel confident in that, right? With that said, I did it again. Now, this person has since paid me back, but the conversation around it is like, I'm making the right choices. I'm making the right sacrifices in order to make sure I'm good. You're fucking up. And now I am putting myself in a really compromising position. And not only that, you did it again, and I'm enabling you at this point. Have you learned anything? And it's really, really difficult.
Enable. That's such a good word.
I wrote it down already. Look at the bottom. When you were talking, I put it down there. I was like, helping versus enabling. And that's a hard thing to decipher, especially when you're dealing with people that you love. And especially when you have insight into some of the decision making that they've made. And I'm one of these people, and this is probably really messed up because this is how I was raised, where I watched my mom sacrifice. She never got her. When my mom, if I go home and she has her nails done, she goes, oh, I only did this because I had a wedding to go to. It's almost as if she didn't deserve it because she knows her money. That money could have went into her retirement account. That money could have went into this, could have that. There is no space for taking care of yourself and like splurging on yourself, which getting your nails done is a splurge. She says to me every time I come home and my nails are done, oh, well, you got money for that. And there's a choice being right. So I carry this into my relationships with people where then I see, if you owe me money, you better be living the brokest life you ever lived. I don't want to see you out eating. I don't want to see you taking no goddamn trips. You better not be at the movies. And that's fucked up too, because there's a balance that needs to be struck. But I'm that person, right? You may be robbing fucking noodles and paying me back my money. What is that rooted in? It's rooted in, obviously, capitalism and the construct. If I had it, I'd give it. I feel like I know that about myself. Like if I really, really had it, but who determines who really, really has it? You don't get to tell me how I spend my money or what I should do with it, right? Money is so tricky. Resources is different. If you need somebody's phone number, there are some people who gatekeep, right? And it's like what I always say about Mandy. Mandy does not gatekeep. Mandy is like, if I got the resources and I have the connections and I know you're going to show up in a way that's not going to embarrass me, I'm going to spread that out. Mandy mentions our names in rooms we don't even know about. You see what I'm saying? Like always assisting with resources and will even hold you down financially if need be. So I think we have to understand what the help is. And finances is a different conversation than resources. And obviously we're not even going to touch emotional, right? Because that's a whole other thing. But I find myself judging that person initially, judging it in the way of questioning the decisions they've made. And then if I'm close enough, I will breach that conversation of like, hey, I have this budget spreadsheet. Like, I think I've gotten better at that of like, hey, it could really help you in terms of like figuring out where you're spending your money, how you can cut back, how you can this, how you can that. But I think it's a really personal conversation to have with yourself. And you're like, how many times is too much to ask me for money? And even if it looks like I have it, there's also pressure there where you're like, oh, well, it looks like I should be able to, like, I do have this nest egg, I should give it. But that nest egg could really be for something that you need in your life.
I think that what is the saying? Capitalism isn't the shark, it's the ocean that the shark is in. Like, I think it's not an aside. I think it's the way that we have been taught to function and is now deeply embedded in all of our relationships. And I think about the narrative of welfare and how it has now become Black women are the ones that are on welfare. They're taking advantage of the system, not knowing that statistically it's actually white people. Yeah. But this narrative and this hate for poverty and this hate for need and this personal, you are in this case because of your personal choices that you keep perpetuating, and you're fucked up in that. And I don't have anything to do. I have no responsibility in you getting out of this loop that you have. And we'll get into that and we talk about it all the time. And I love that our society is slowly opening up to this, that people don't self-sabotage because they're well. You know, people don't self-sabotage because they have sound decision making from, you know, a place of, anyway. And the idea that poor people or the people in need are the ones that have less room for error than people that have more resources. Because I know personally in my own family, I know people that have multiple baby fathers and are trying to do well for themselves, have trauma from their upbringing, and again, they self-sabotage and they get themselves in these, they make one wrong move. You make one wrong move, your shit is fucked up. Your kids are in a compromised situation. Now they're getting molested, abused, or now you're abusive towards your kid. Anyway, the cycle's just like the ball gets so tight versus somebody else who has multiple baby fathers, but their family was able to buy them a house, right, or give them $25,000 to start a business, and they're able to stabilize in a way that shit is not they're given the help. And I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like we judge people. We judge people, and we punish more than judging them. We punish them. We're corporally addicted to like, oh, you did this thing, die slow, nigga. Let your baby suffer too.
It's interesting how you brought up the idea of if I'm crowdsourcing for a business, it's right, good. And it's like I'm enterprising. Oh, she's doing well. Let me support that. Let me help this Black woman. Maybe I made a bad decision, or maybe fucking life happened to me. Right?
No room for error.
And I need help. We're like, yo, come on, man. You got to do better. You got to get another job. Maybe you can't have that job. Maybe you got to go be the fucking nurse's assistant, right? Or go be a nurse. I just bigged you up in the beginning of this episode for the decisions that you consciously made about the way you wanted your life to be. I could make those decisions because I had my mom's house to stay in. Right. I mean, I worked. I paid my mom rent.
but I never and never will face housing insecurity.
Right.
Some people's mothers have passed. Some people have toxic, abusive relationships they'll never want to.
They all they got.
Return.
Communities all they've got.
I was able to do that because I had that privilege, and then it's connected to whiteness, like your proximity to what. My mom was able to offer that house because when she was fucking up and her life got complicated, she had that stability. And like, shout out to assets because they will help you. And everybody should have. My idea is that I hope I'm trying to move more towards, if I got it, I'm going to give it to somebody in reason, regardless. Because I understand that it's bigger than just, it's a longer process than just poor choices.
Right.
Right? And I'll go on now to this emotional part.
But can I ask you, how do you figure out enabling versus help?
Well, let me go on to the emotional part.
All right.
I was walking to work and I see this big black body strewn on the cement floor. And I walk past and he has a sweater and he's laying his head on his sweater. And he's quiet. And I'm like, oh my God, are you okay? I thought maybe he was like having a heart attack or something. He turns to me, starts babbling. He doesn't have all the teeth in his head. Clearly, he's not as dirty. Like, it doesn't seem like he's living on the streets, but I can clearly see that like he's in a desperate situation somehow, some way. He's like down on his luck. Maybe he's staying in a home. And tears just start pouring from his face. He's just bawling. And he's I can't quite understand everything, but he's talking about how he went to war and he fought in the war and he didn't, probably the trauma that he saw in the war. And he starts talking, he's calling me mom, and he starts talking about his mom, and she said she'd never leave him. And it's coming from you can tell he's not in his right mind, but he's not in his right mind because of years and years of trauma. Like, we know that trauma affects the brain, and the tears are just falling. And like, I give him $15. I give him all the cash I have, $15. I could have gave that man $15 million and that would not take him out of what he needed. Like, what he needed was a hug, for real, for real. He needed somebody to hold him and rock him and help his heart rate he just needed he needed a lot of emotional labor. He needed love. He needed care. And like, money was not going to solve that. And so I think in a lot of these situations where we find people that are self-sabotaging, I know for folks in my life that I know self-sabotage, I know the ways in which I self-sabotage. Money can't fix that shit. No. And so it's like, oh, these people need like community care. Like, they need help making decisions. Their trauma is so askew in this moment, or their perception of who they are and what they're worth is so fucked up that they can't money's not going to solve them. Like, they're going to self-sabotage some way. And then there's this, how do we show up in that way? Yeah. And that gets really tricky because money is like, boom, you got this, take care, you're stable. But then it's like this hug, this constant care that is demanded, that cannot be ignored, that takes years to like recover from. That's exhausting for us. It's painful for us. If it's people that you love and you're like, yo, like, wow, your wiring is really.
I'm thinking about Shanti, the person in my life who
I know.
is addicted.
It's like,
how do I help?
Up? How do you show up? And when is it to the point of like, you're a lost cause?
Well, Jesus, okay. Yes, that's a thing. But like, when is it where you determine, and I think it's a really personal, when is it? You determine it. I really believe that. I think when is it that you say to yourself, oh, everybody, that's a famous, I can't help you unless you want to help yourself. When do you recognize, like, what is the criteria for you to determine that this person does want to help themselves? Because they say it. A lot of times people say it and then you show up and then they don't. And they self-sabotage again. And it's like, you're in that whirlwind. It's so difficult, especially emotionally.
Especially for people closest. If it's
of course.
If JoJo like got into an addictive spiral, nigga, what?
But yes, that's what I'm saying. It's like, how do you? I think one of the harder things to do is to say, you have to get away from me because I can't help you.
I can't help you.
And that is like, what? How can you? I don't ever want to get to that point. I hope I never do. But
that's real of being exhausted. I need to tap out, but I need to know that you're being cared for by other people.
But it's not just being exhausted. It's I actually cannot help you because you will not help yourself. And settling into that and accepting it, submitting to it, of like, this is where the faith comes in. And it's like, I have to hope and pray that always telling you I love you and I'm here for when you're ready. I think that's really important, right? I'm here for when you're ready. Even if it's somebody giving you money that needs that's saying they need financial assistance from you, right? But every time you help them out, they fucking up. You like, what? What did you do with that money? Like, what are you talking about? Or even then, there's a point where you have to say, cool, listen, I love you to death. I'm here for you, but I can't show up for you anymore until I see some proof that you are showing up for yourself. And I think that's a personal thing. I think even that criteria is very personal of like, listen, I need to see that you have a stable job, or I need to see that you wrote a resume. Even if it's a bad one, I'll help you, or come over and I'll help you write one. You see what I'm saying? Like those kinds of things, or volunteer somewhere. If you want to go, I have people who, again, they have resources, but they weren't doing shit with themselves. And their parents were like, I'm not giving you another fucking dime. You don't even have to go get a job, but I have to see that you want to learn whatever this craft is that you want to learn. I'll finance your whole shit as long as you are showing up to this internship and taking the steps to get on your own 2 feet. It's going to be personal depending on where you're at. But when you are marginalized, right, and you don't have those resources, it's dire.
Well, I guess that's why I'm bringing up that this culture it hates people that are in need.
Yeah, you said that to me. You said this culture hates poor people.
We hate people. We hate people that are poor, and we hate people that are mentally unwell. Like, because some people, I don't know that man...
That's an emotional poverty. Yeah.
I don't know if that man is going to turn around and be okay, right? But does he not deserve a safe space to eat well, have clean clothes, have a space where his nervous system can calm down? But we don't create those spaces. And I think about Mother Teresa. I think about the stories of Christ. I think about like the wretched of the earth is like, I think about, I'm not comparing the two, but I think about a lot of the trans community. Like that's their gripe. It's like, we are the marginalized of the marginalized. We are often the poorest. We're often the most vulnerable. And y'all don't fucking care. And we're dying and being murdered. And because we don't really care, because we're waiting for people to show that they care, which people cognitively may not be able to do in this lifetime. That's why these addiction sites where, we can't get you off addiction, but we're going to give you clean needles because you can't be spreading the diseases the way that you have. Like, we're going to meet you wherever we're at. And I think just like culturally, we don't have the tolerance or the alternatives for it. I think it's seen in our prison system. It's like lock and key, done, boom. There's no reform. Think about what you did, how we treat our kids. Because we don't know what help.
Punitive.
It is. It's punitive. I watched myself with Jolie. I said, Joe, she has tests coming up. Joe's been living her young black free life. Joe has a test coming. Go in your room and study. Joe don't know what the fuck this, like, she has no idea. A little 5-year-old girl, go pack your room up. Go pack your room. We're moving. You have to go pack your room. She's 7 years old. Nigga putting pebbles in a box, crayons. And then we get mad at them. How do you not, why haven't you done this? You didn't do this correctly. And we don't even know, I guess this goes to the personal thing. It's like, what is our personal relationship with asking for help? I don't know that I've taught Jolie how to ask for help. I've created a space where, like, how don't you know this? I've already embedded shame. I ain't got the time to be doing this with you. Like, go sit down and figure out how to study. Perform competence. Perform that you are okay. Because ain't nobody got time for this. Go pack that. I don't know where we're moving. What is packing me?
What is your personal relationship with giving help?
It's connected to the other person's responsibility. How don't you know that? Why didn't you ask me for help? Why didn't you ask me how to study? Because instead I'm terrified.
You can ask me. Oh, you don't know that? Next time you need to ask me then. Come on, I'll help you. Yeah.
I think it starts early.
That's taught to us.
Be responsible for yourself. Yeah. And if you're not competent, if your brain's not working right, and you don't know that your brain's not working right, you're you failed.
You're a failure. Yeah. Woo! What topic? Yeah. Wow. This is so helpful for me. This is, Shanti, what you just did there is so helpful for me in many areas of my life, because I do tend to do that. And I'm thinking about within our relationship, our business relationship. Why didn't you do? Why didn't you, like, come on, I need you to, and I'm thinking, like, sometimes, do you even know what the fuck I'm talking about? Maybe not. Maybe the fuck not. Like, truly, I'm thinking about at work. I can't tell you how many times on this new account where someone has given me, someone has given me a task, and I know project management, but I don't know necessarily the field that I'm in fully. And there's all these acronyms and things, and the way I will not ask a question because I do not want to appear incompetent, I will Google it. I will work late to figure it out instead of just saying, hey, what's that? And there are certain people that I will do that with, but there are certain people that I absolutely will not. And that they've created those safe spaces for me to do that, where they know, like, oh, you're still competent as hell, but I got to provide you these tools. And I'm so grateful to have the boss that I have, the direct report that I have. But I'm realizing within my life how many times that I may have, barked an order at somebody or made a request and not provided them the space to ask questions. Or if they did ask questions, be like, are you fucking dumb? Like,
most importantly, how do you ask for help? Because how we treat others is how we like. We don't want to feign incompetence.
No, never.
We want to be competent. We don't want to be vulnerable. Like, I don't understand this. Or like, I don't feel well. I can't my brain doesn't work like that. I don't know how to do that.
But even that is, I feel like even what you're saying, I don't have time to be running around teaching you how to do this. Like, you should pick it up. It's still rooted in scarcity of time.
Scarcity. Oh, talk about it. Capitalism. That's how capitalism functions. Scarcity.
That's what I was saying earlier. When I feel like even if I have this nest egg, it still feels scarce.
It's not enough.
We need more. Scarce.
I can't give it to you. I need it.
Yeah. Yeah. God, it affects every way in which we operate. Where you're at.
It's not the shark, it's the water. It's fucking us up. But I'm trying to remember that with JoJo though, is where I'm seeing it. And I wasn't taught again, in my experience, I was often just overlooked. So I just had, and it's my nature just to be moving and doing shit. But I don't remember nobody holding my hand or telling me. I don't remember. Nigga, I just learned how to do a spread. I still don't know how to make a spreadsheet.
Now, I have definitely offered to sit down.
Still.
Remember
Google
when
Docs.
we sat here? Remember when I was like, all right, come on. Right,
I still don't
But do you remember when we first started Google? I'm like, put it in the outline, put it in the folder. I'm realizing, like, did you even know where that shit was?
I'm just learning it. But that's
Wow.
the shame. It's the speed in which we want to work. Things gotta happen at a fast. We don't have time for this. It's all it's fucking us up. But again, it goes to, if you don't feel safe, it all goes back to the emotional thing, our emotional well-being. We talked about it before. If you're, what were we talking about last week? Oh, if you're biologically, your stressors are up, cortisol is up, your heart's racing, you're nervous.
I also think I said cortisone. Help me, Jesus.
Cortisol or cortisol? I
think I said cortisone last week, and I hope I didn't, but I have this.
Cortisone is the medication.
I know, and I think I said that, but continue. I know that was wrong, just FYI, but go ahead.
If you as a young child, a traumatized brain can't work properly.
Can't develop.
It's undeveloped. You don't have the calm. You can't calm your nerves in a way to be like, all right, let me make this decision around money. Let me make this decision around the partner. It's just so layered.
Also, we're always developing.
Amen.
We're never there. You never quite there. You can celebrate. You are both a masterpiece and a work in progress. Okay? I am forever a fucking work in progress. We have to ask for help.
But to the caller's point, you got to get your count. If you don't feel safe with the people that you're asking for, you're by yourself. If you're shrouded in shame, if the persons make you feel stupid, they resent you for it, it's hard. It's scary.
Yeah.
But you have to I feel like we should all have a council around how we make decisions, because maybe a lot of the decisions that fuck us up people would be like, no, don't do that. Don't do it. Reconsider. Here's why. Do this other thing.
The last thing I'll say, there is an amount of self-accountability as well.
Mm-hmm. And awareness.
If you, not you, the plural you, if you don't know how to do something, right, you can ask for help, right? But if the resource is right there for you to learn it, and you just want somebody to do it for you or teach you because that's just an easier route, you have to assess that situation. Does that person have time? But also, does that person have time? If you can, I don't know how many times I've said to someone, Google it. Because you want me to spoon, as a project manager, everybody comes to you and they need you to spoon feed stuff to them. There are certain very, very easy tasks and things for people to learn. I've created, can't tell you how many decks I've created of process. Refer to the deck.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do so it's that kind of thing too. And I think we can take that in our lives as well, where you can step up, where you do have the resource to help yourself. I think that's the main thing too. Help yourself as much as you can, right?
Of course.
And then when you need further assistance and you hit that wall, community needs to be there to support you as well.
And hopefully our community moves towards more unconditional assistance, because I truly believe some people may not change and be able to help themselves. Do we tell them to die slow? Are they never redeemable or reformable? What do we do?
Can we never meet them where they're at? Yeah.
With that man, that homeless man, he's not going to be operate like a normal tax-paying citizen. He's always going to need assistance, because it seems from a very young age he's experienced trauma that has affected the way that he can show up. Does that mean he lies on the concrete and cries and people money ain't gonna fix it either?
Or people walk past them. At least you
Or
stop.
people walk past. Like, of that $15, I don't know what he did. Maybe he bought alcohol with it. Like, but what his pain and where he needed care was constant, consistent, and need to be authentic in order for him to really like make some strides and to calm down, because he was just in so much pain. But our society isn't. I don't fucking care.
Here we are, same shit with around the way curls, empathy, compassion, humanity, capitalism, care. Here we are, good people. Every fucking topic is going to go back to this some kind of way with us.
Until we break the wheel.
Yeah. Ciao.
All right, well, I got to go make some money. I got to go to keep myself and my child alive. Listen, I will say this. She did raise $1,500. I am going to give her a handle again if you do want to help this mother and her 4 children to stabilize in this really, really uncertain time in her life. Oh, shucks. Her
It'll be in the
Venmo
description.
is capital B, KINDGZ, Be Kind GZ. Her Cash App is Be Kind Family Services, BKIND Family Services. Show her some love. Too much or nothing's too little. It is helping her financially, but she's also like, wow, I'm not hopeless. Like the well of goodwill has not dried up for me, which is giving her the energy she needs to move forward. So thank you guys.
All right.
Thank you, Internet.
Thank you. I love you. I'll talk to you later.
Bye now. Love you guys. Love you. Bye.
Bye.